Hi guys, sorry I'm not here again today, but hopefully this video will keep you up to date on what everyone else is doing in class. I'm going to talk about direct object pronouns today. Really quickly before I do that, your tests, your quizzes on reflexives and progressives were kind of all over the place. I had a bunch of hundreds and I had some people who didn't do so well, and I just want to give you the opportunity to make up half of the points that you missed on the quiz. So if you got a 20 out of 36, you can make up 8 points because you were lacking 16 points. There is an assignment on Schoology. It says exam points makeup, and you need to do it by Monday at midnight. Basically, it requires you to come and see me. We'll go through your test, figure out the errors you made, and then you need to prove to me that you understand what you did wrong. So that's on Schoology. You can see what you have to do if you want to get those points back. Otherwise, today I'm going to walk you through the notes really quickly and make sure that you understand direct object pronouns. So I'm going to start with this cartoon from Gaturro, and if you noticed, it had the lo in there a million times. So lo estudia, I study it. Lo olfatea, I sniff it. Lo observa, I observe it. Lo toca, I touch it. So the lo was the direct object pronoun that you saw over and over again. These are the direct object pronouns: me, te, lo, la, nos, os, los, and las. You'll use the me, te, nos, and os for people, and then the lo, la, los, and las will mostly be used for objects. Lo will be masculine objects, la will be feminine objects, los and las are for plural objects, masculine and feminine. In English, lo is like saying it, and la is like saying it, and los and las is like saying them. This was the video on how to use direct object pronouns. Basically, you should have recognized, I'm not going to play it for you, but I want to see if I can find an example sentence. So let me see if I can, there we go. Okay. All right, let's pause it there. So the important part in this video is that you recognize that los marcadores is the direct object, ellas is the subject, tienen is the verb, and los marcadores is the direct object. The direct object usually comes directly after the verb. So this is what we're looking at to replace. So los marcadores we would replace with los. So here's a good example. So Carlos come el taco. The object following the verb is el taco. So el taco is our direct object, and you would replace it with lo. Maria mira la película. La película is a movie. That's the direct object, so you would replace it with la. In these sentences, tú comes una pizza en la cafetería. Una pizza is the direct object, and you would replace it with la. Ellos venden el coche a Señor Sánchez. El coche is the direct object, so you would replace it with lo. Yo quiero unos zapatos nuevos. Unos zapatos nuevos is the direct object, and you would replace it with los. Marco necesita una carretera nueva. Carretera is the direct object, and you would replace it with la. Nosotros compramos 3 kilos de tomates. 3 kilos is the direct object, and you replace it with los. No comprende la lección. La lección is the direct object, and you replace it with la. And la clase repite las palabras de vocabulario. Las palabras is the direct object, so you would replace it with las. These are verbs that you commonly use with people. So you would say, like, I see you. You would be the direct object. We invite them. Them would be the direct object. I call her. Her would be the direct object. So these verbs frequently take people as direct objects. And then we moved on to the practice. So it's your job to complete the practice in boxes 16 through 18 right here, 16, 17, and 18. And I'll sign on that when I come back. I do have a couple other examples that I just wanted to do with you. So if you were to write in Spanish, we use the paper or we use it. So usar is to use. So in Spanish we say nosotros for we, then we conjugate usar to we, so nosotros usamos el papel. The direct object in this sentence is el papel. If we were replacing el papel, we would use the pronoun lo because it's a masculine singular item. How many verbs are there? There's only one verb, usamos, so we only have one placement of the pronoun. If this is a conjugated verb, and we know that pronouns go before conjugated verbs. So it would be nosotros Lo usamos. And that says we use it. The are seeing us. We know that ing is a star plus ando and yendo, hopefully. The verb for to see is ver. So they is ellos. Are, we're going to use están. For ver, we're going to do viendo, because it's an ER verb. Us, the pronoun is going to be nos. Because I have two verbs, estar and viendo, I have two choices for my place in pronoun. I can either say, ellos nos están viendo, and put it before the conjugated verb, or I can say, ellos están viendo nos, and attach it onto the end. If I attach it onto the end, I have to make sure I add my accent on the E. So it doesn't let me just highlight the nos, but you can see that the pronoun is there. So this is conjugated, this is progressive, and since there are two verbs, we know there are two choices. And then in the last sentence, you all want to buy the books. Want is querer, and to buy is comprar. When we have two verbs next to each other, we conjugate the first verb, but we do not conjugate the second verb. So I'm just going to use vosotros. So vosotros, you all, want is querer. So querer conjugated to vosotros is queres, and it's correcting it for me, queres. Querer is conjugated, so I'm not going to conjugate comprar, and then we have los libros. The direct object is los libros. It's what follows the verb. I have two verbs, querer and comprar, so I have two options for the pronoun placement. I'm going to also replace los libros with los because it's a masculine plural item. So I can say, for you all want to buy them, vosotros los queréis comprar, or I can say, vosotros queréis comprar los, and attach it to the end. So because I have two verbs, I have two different pronoun placements. So that should hopefully go over everything with direct object pronouns. Make sure you recognize that they answer the question who or what. In number one, we use the paper. Who or what do we use? The paper. In number two, they are seeing us. Who or what are we seeing? Us. And in number three, you all want to buy the books. Who or what do you want to buy? So that should hopefully take you through all of the notes for 1 through 5. Do the practice in 16, 17, and 18. If you don't finish that today, make sure you finish that up for homework because tomorrow we're going to start with indirect object pronouns. If you have done 1 through 5 and you've done practice in 16, 17, and 18, these are the things that you can do. You can start on the indirect object pronouns notes in the blend space. You can work on that. The Schoology homework, feel free to do that. Or I did open an extra work on Schoology, if I can find that. So this is the makeup points, and this is the extra work on Schoology. It's a 10-point assignment. You have to listen to a file, which I noticed I didn't upload, so I'll make sure I upload that. And then you have to respond to the questions using direct object pronouns. Again, I'm really sorry. I feel really bad, but this is essentially the lesson I did with the other class, so you just get to do it by video. All right. Hasta mañana, ojalá.